Like you said, I'm Michelle Newmeyer. I'm with SUEZ. I'm the Product Application Specialist for Life Science. We're going to talk about integrating total organic carbon online. Only have 15 minutes, so I'm going to breeze through it, but please come visit us if you want to learn more about it. So I'll briefly touch on cleaning validation, the current challenges of the lab and the time it takes. Process analytical technology guidance. This is an FDA document I'm sure many of you are familiar with, and we'll talk about how to leverage that document with process analytical technology, particularly with total organic carbon. And then we have 3 modes that we've kind of identified as sampling logistics with the COP skid. So we'll do a deep dive into mode 1, but again, if you think mode 2 or 3 is more applicable to your process, you can stop by. We even have a video going, so you can see the ins and outs of how that works. So cleaning validation. So most programs take this life cycle approach. You develop it, you decide what you're going to clean with, temperatures, processes, and then you have to validate that process. That's a super critical component of this. And then stage 3 would be continuous monitoring and verification. So this is what we care about. This is super important to show that you're in a state of control and to continuously demonstrate validation. So a lot of times the state of that now is doing that in the lab. So you'll take a grab sample from your CAP skid, call it, and you'll take it to the lab and you'll wait usually days. I come from QC. I definitely know the QC workflow is not always the timeliest. So to change that, but still achieve continuous monitoring, that's when you deploy process analytical technology. So this graph is kind of showing the limitations of the lab versus online. So complete automation. Laboratory, you obviously can't get that. There's a lot of human interaction involved, from sampling to data entry, processing the samples in the lab. In my experience coming from the lab, a lot of labs will batch samples. So yes, it was sampled today, but we're waiting till we have a full auto sampler rack to run that. And that might be 2 days, and meanwhile, your equipment is just sitting there. Real-time release, you don't have this with the lab. You have this online where your sample is being diverted from your process to your analyzer, and you're getting real-time data. And then sample integrity, this is huge. Again, your sample is being directly diverted to your analysis. You don't have somebody labeling it. You don't have somebody sampling it. You know that your sample is what it is and you're getting a true result. Not to mention reduced human error. So sampling errors occur. If you're taking other samples, you might have IPA involved. You might have CO2 coming into your vial. So you're adding a lot of variables that just aren't there with online analysis. And then rinse down profiling. And we'll look at a graph of this later on. But this is a really good functionality because you can see the whole profile of your cleaning process. Doing a grab sample is a time point, right? It's not indicative of your whole cleaning process. So to be able to get data every 4 seconds in turbo mode with the M90 OSI Analyzer gives you this really nice curve, and we'll get into that later on. And then swab analysis might be the only, might not be, if you're doing a ton of swabs, this might not be the best application. There is a vial port on the back if you've integrated an M9 online, but if you have a lot of swabs at line, or the lab might be a better method. So PAT guidance, process analytical technology. This is a recommended document by the FDA. If you haven't read it, I invite you to. It's basically inviting manufacturers to embrace innovation and figure out solutions that demonstrate validation. So you've gone through this process to design your cleaning process and to validate it, and now you have to demonstrate that and continuously show that you're in control. And part of that is understanding your process. So a process that is well understood defines the variables. Hopefully you can control the variables with your process. And then lastly, you can predict your quality attributes that you're testing for. And then you can control your process based off of that and how your process performs. And this all leads to quality by design. And that's the whole point of this document, is to build quality into your products and be more proactive rather than reactive. So I'm not going to dig into these numbers so much. The point here is there's a huge ROI for your cost savings, and there's probably a higher upfront cost, but over time it hugely pays off. So not only do you have the quality gains, but you also have the cost gains and the efficiency gains. So now the time that an analyst was spending, and I know QC time is at a premium, so now this can be done online and you can redeploy those efforts elsewhere. And then you can reduce your release time from days to minutes. So your equipment uptime is increasing greatly with online. So now we'll kind of get into the weeds of it. This is a little bit busy, but the point here, this black box is the M90 OSI Analyzer. The smaller box is the integrated onboard sampler. So this is actually where the sampler is being fed. This is representative of your tank or your CIP system. So it can either go to drain or it can go to the M9, and then you also will have a pure water source going to your M9. These valves are automated and they're controlled by your SCADA system themselves. And then this is showing a 4 to 20 output. You can also use MODA. But what this gets you is real-time data generation and complete integration. So your data is going from your M90 OSI Analyzer to your site system, SCADA, whatever it is. And then you have ease of use and sample integrity, like I was saying earlier. You don't have that sampling component, the vials, the human error, opportunity for human error. It's all contained within this configuration. And we'll show a picture of this so you're not just looking at the cartoon because it's kind of busy. So just to touch on some of the advantages, trending and control in real time. That's huge. So you can go back, you can trend your process, and this allows you to optimize, to scale up. If you are over cleaning and maybe you want to use less detergent to make it a little bit more of a sustainable process, this data is huge, and you can see what your process is doing over time. Continuous verification of the validated state, demonstrating control, right? That's huge. You want to be able to prove that your process is well understood and well controlled. Reducing sample variability, you take out the human sampling part, you have less variability, you have less CO2 that can get into your vial and affect your inorganic carbon and conductivity levels. Process optimization, I kind of touched on that. Remove delays due to QC workflow. This is your equipment uptime is increased. Faster release of equipment. So that's all kind of the theory, and now we'll briefly touch on how to actually deploy this. So this is a picture of our development lab in Boulder, Colorado. It might be hard to see, but we also have this going in our booth if you want to come see this and a video. So this is the skid. Right here is the M9 Analyzer, and then this is a pure water source. And in the next slide, you'll see a picture of this PLC controller, and that's where we can control start-stop of the instrument. You can automate your cleaning cycle, you can automate your valves, and we'll see a closer picture. But anyways, we added some sampling valves for pressurized and non-pressurized sampling, in other words, gravity drain. And then behind, it's kind of hard to see, but behind the skid we have a 50-gallon tank with a spray ball and a manway that we can actually do real-time cleaning studies. So I'll show a graph in the coming slides of pouring some sucrose and watching that rinse dot profile, and that's when the turbo mode data every 4 seconds is really key to see what exactly is happening. So this is the PLC controller I was speaking about. In this instance, we're using Modbus. It's, I'm sure, hard to see. This says TOC, and that actually shows your result right there. And then this is the automated drain that can be stopped and started from the PLC controller. And this is actually on the CIP skid, not on the instrument. So this graph shows the 3 modes that I was talking about. We've hooked up our M9. We've tried to mimic what limitations customers might be facing in regards to sampling conditions. I'm only going to jump into mode 1, which is kind of the easiest to implement. It's plenty of volume, so you got plenty of rinse sample, you have plenty of time, and you have a pressurized line to get the sample from the CIP skid to your M9. So the sample accessories would be, you need an M9 with your integrated onboard sampler. Mode 2 is you have limited sample, you have limited time, but you do have a pressurized line. And the solution to this is what we're calling a retain arm. So you would have an inline retain arm, so you would avoid a dead leg. You would gather about 1,000 milliliters of your sample, and then you would be able to analyze it. So you overcome the time limitations. And then the third mode is gravity drain. So this, one may seem the most tricky, but the solution would be the retain arm plus clean compressed air behind it to push the sample to the iOS analyzer sample, and then you can continue that air through the lines and clear your lines of any residual water. But I'm going to jump into number 1, but if number 2 or 3 sounds like it fits your CIP application, come and talk to us and we can help you with that. So again, plenty of volume, plenty of time, and a pressurized sample flow is what we're going to be talking about. So in this picture, this is the back of an M90 OSI Analyzer. This is the integrated onboard sampler that I was talking about. This is an automated valve. So we have water for, this little sticker says water for injection, going through the valve and then into the iOS. And then this is the drain. So once your sample is analyzed, it does go to drain. And then going into the iOS is where your sample is actually going in for analysis. So how the instrument works, just a quick overview. You have a continuous flow to the iOS. So there's a 6-minute initialization time that the M9 requires. You call it a flush. But with limited sample time or sample volume, this can kind of be tricky. So we have something called a step change, and that's when the automated valve becomes super critical. So for that first 6 minutes, you can overcome the initialization or the flush with water for injection, and this almost serves as your baseline. And then when you're ready to analyze your rinse, the valve would open and it would switch to sample. From there, once the conductivity once the sample hits the iOS, it takes 15 seconds to get your conductivity data, and then from the time the sample hits the iOS gets through the instrument and to get a TOC result is 3 minutes. So just know that. This is kind of a cartoon. This might be easier to see what's going on of the flow switching. So right here we have an M9 portable with iOS connected online. Here's the iOS going to drain, and then we have a 4-way crossover valve to switch between water for injection and your CIP rinse sample, depending on timing and how much volume you have. This could be a super critical step. And then this is just a picture of the top of the valve to show what position it's in and what is going to the instrument at that time. And then this gives you the capability for a complete rinse down profile, like I was saying. So in turbo mode, you get data every 4 seconds. So this is what I was referring to when we put sucrose and look at the response. So in blue is TOC and green is conductivity. Since sucrose isn't terribly ionic, you see relatively lower response. And that's why having those 2 pieces of information plus inorganic carbon, which we'll talk about on the next slide, is super key. But the take home from this is cleaning validation is not a limit test, right? So you have to validate your instruments appropriately to be able to quantitate this and to establish this TOC cleaning limit. And if you're establishing control limits, it must be validated. So this is conductivity is the top row, inorganic carbon, total organic carbon. These are all 3 metrics that you will get from the instrument. So using these 3 data points to kind of triangulate what's happening in your system. I won't go through all of them, but for example, this one, where your total organic carbon is within your control range, but your inorganic carbon and your conductivity is increasing. This could indicate some CO2, atmospheric CO2 somewhere, so potentially your process is open to the atmosphere. So it helps you troubleshoot. So these are all 3 really important things. The last one, if you see, like I said, sucrose isn't ionic and it doesn't create a huge response. So you might see your inorganic carbon and your conductivity are within their control range, but your total organic carbon is spiking. So it's important to have all 3 of those data points to really understand what's happening in your system. So flew through that really quick, but what I kind of want to just leave you with is it's not really about the box with the TOC numbers. Like, we want to make the whole solution work and really collaborate with you, and we're collaborating with Sanomatic, and just to make this streamlined and to really leverage process analytical technology. So I would encourage you to stop by our booth and come look at the videos. They're pretty cool, and we can talk about kind of sampling limitations you might foresee in your process. Again, I'm Michelle Newmeyer. I'm the Product Application Specialist for SUEZ. Are there any questions? Come talk to me. All right, thank you.